We don't need to wait, oh it's fine. I'll lend you a hand, a lifeline. If you want it, I'll be on your side, 'cause I got you. Yeah, if you want it, I'll be on your side, 'cause I got you. I got you. I got you. If you want it, I'll be on your side, 'cause I got you. I got you. We don't need to wait, oh it's fine. I'll lend you a hand, a lifeline. If you want it, I'll be on your side, 'cause I got you. Yeah, if you want it, I'll be on your side, 'cause I got you. I got you. I got you. If you want it, I'll be on your side, 'cause I got you. I got you. If you want it, I'll be on your side, 'cause I got you. Yeah, if you want it, I'll be on your side, 'cause I got you. I got you. If you want it, I'll be on your side, 'cause I got you. Yeah, if you want it, I'll be on your side, 'cause I got you. I got you. You're a concept worth exploring. Never nervous, never boring. I don't wanna mess it up. No, I don't wanna mess it up. Cross the state line to the morning. Little tired, little swerving. I don't wanna mess it up. No, I don't wanna mess it up. 'Cause I've got high hopes, I got high hopes, but they let me down. They usually let me down. Well, I feel like I've known you, even though I've only met you. I don't wanna mess it up. I'm probably gonna mess it up. Yeah, you're walking downstairs on a Wednesday night. Sure, it's kinda cold, but I feel alright, 'cause I got you in the
I already paid for it. Got your life in my hands, know my love never ends for you. When it's too hard to stand, know that you can depend on me. Right, lift your head to the sky, 'cause my love never ends for you. I'll be right by your side.
Yeah, I've been through the fire, I've been through the flames, yeah, yeah. I almost gave up, almost lost my way, yeah, yeah. I ran from your love, I could not escape, no, no. I came face to face and had to face my fate, ayy. I've been running away from my purpose. Look up to the sky, lift my head, 'cause I've been searching. World going crazy, chaotic and lately. Thoughts in my head say I won't make it, but when the storm's raging and the walls caving and the fire blazing and the season changing, yeah, I look to you every single time. I know you save me.
I already paid for it.
on a ledge. Voices in my head tell me no one's there. I remember wondering if they love me. Broken and just hoping for recovery. What if I drop the ball? What if I lose it all? What if I never fly cause I was scared to fall? What about the choices, mistakes that I made? Will they lead me down a path I can't escape? Yeah. Love is power, shame's a liar, be inspired. Fear is prison, hope will lift your spirits higher. I gave my worries away, traded them for your embrace.
No, my love never ends for you. When it's too hard to stand, know that you can depend on me. Right, lift your head to the sky, cause my love never ends for you. I'll be right by your side, can depend on me. Right, lift your head to the sky, cause my love never ends for you. I'll be right by your side.
When the storm's raging and the walls caving and the fire blazing and the season changing, yeah, I look to you every single time. I know you save me.
Welcome back to Summer Bible Study announcements. This Saturday on July 10th, we're having a high school shindig for incoming freshmen to graduated seniors, and is our Christmas in July party, hence our Christmas attire. The entrance fee will be $3 at the door, and there will be popcorn and lots of sweet treats along with a Christmas movie. And make sure that you wear festive attire, Christmas attire, because we'll be having a Christmas costume outfit contest. So make sure you're there.
Addie, take it away.
Next up, we have the high school event, the Peoria Chiefs baseball game, next Wednesday, July 14th. Registration is due this Sunday, July 11th, so make sure you get it in. It's $12, and we think it's our hot dog day, according to Zach, so bring $1 for hot dog. Plus tax.
Finally, we have the junior high shindig, the hiking hoopla. It is July 19th, and registration is due July 16th. I heard it was really fun, so go have fun hiking. For more information about all these events, go to lccstudents.com/events.
5, 6, 7,
Okay.
8. We
wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Bye.
I did it.
Okay, that was awesome. Yeah. So we have one of the members of the announcement team here with us today, Lydia.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So it seems like you all are having a blast beyond all imagination
Oh, yes.
when you are making announcement videos.
Yes.
Please walk us through the thought process. How do you come up with a theme like that?
Yeah, how did you choose that bag to put on your head?
Yeah.
Well, we kind of, at the beginning, just go through the student ministry closet, and we just pick out whatever we want.
Which is kind of like the Wild West of the world.
Yeah, just whatever
Excellent.
calls to us.
Whatever calls to you. I'm feeling Legos today. I'm
Yes.
feeling Christmas today.
Exactly.
Feeling COVID supplies.
Yeah, we have
Yes.
tons of that. You should do a hand
We do.
sanitizing theme. We have so much hand sanitizer. Actually, we don't have as much hand sanitizer because we use that a lot. What we have a lot of is, which I feel ashamed to say because it's almost like we're hoarders, But we sort of did hoard a lot of Clorox wipes
There are
And
so
Lysol.
and Lysol. There's so much in there that, like, I don't mean to be gross or anything, but pre-COVID, like before I even knew there was a COVID thing, I can honestly say that probably one time in being a student minister here, whatever that was, here, that I used Clorox wipes. So it's going to take like
I don't know if I would have admitted that.
50
on the live
or...
stream.
I mean, it's not like I didn't clean other things, but I just didn't use Clorox wipes.
Fair. That's fair.
I mean, I've disinfected stuff with like the weird industrial... Oh my goodness, what just happened?
The thing snapped. The clip snapped. It's okay.
Is everybody okay?
Keep going.
Okay. But, like, you had, like... I mean, I've cleaned things with, like, the industrial cleaner, but it's not like I sit around and wipe stuff off with a Clorox thing. Do you do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
You do?
My mom does. I don't personally.
Do you, Hunter?
I don't personally. Or my mom.
My mom just uses a bunch of the like cleaning spray with like the paper towels.
That's what
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
No, we always use Clorox wipes. I love to wipe things down with Clorox wipes, and then your hands smell all good.
Is Caitlin sponsored by Clorox wipes?
Sometimes I
I
wonder. I was really
wish.
hoping that they would have given us money to be able to help us through pandemic, but they didn't.
True. We sponsored them so much.
We did.
I also used to wipe my desk down with hand sanitizer in elementary school.
For real.
Yeah.
In element, like you yourself from your own, like, just once.
Yes.
How, like, we're talking first grade, second grade?
All grades. Although one of my teachers said that we couldn't do it, it made me really mad.
That's
Where-
fascinating to me.
So I
Were
would
your
do it
pa-
during indoor recess when she wasn't there.
Were your papers ever wet? From like...
No, you gotta let it dry, Hunter.
My bad.
Yeah, Hunter. Seriously, man. You gotta let it dry.
So when you put the hand sanitizer on the desk, did you like take a tissue and wipe it, or just
No.
like with
Air
your
dry.
hand?
No, it's just air
You
dry.
wipe it with your hands.
Or you could
Oh.
blow on it and get it to dry.
You want your hands to smell
I
good
think she's
too,
talking about
Lydia.
spreading it.
She spread it with her hands.
Not like
she didn't
drying.
just
I
let it
spread it with my
dry.
hands. Other people didn't do this because there was definitely other people in my class that did this.
Huh? You took a Clorox wipe.
No,
You took Clorox.
hand sanitizer in elementary. But I love Clorox.
I thought we were
wipes
talking
more
about
than-
Clorox wipes.
We were,
No,
and then I switched
yeah.
to hand sanitizer.
I'm so confused.
Could you imagine a child?
You used hand sanitizer on your table and wiped it all over the table.
Yes, yeah. Yes.
Why?
For cleanliness.
But it takes forever to dry.
No, it doesn't. Not if you spread it thin.
Is that... Hold on, Zach. in
I
your mind-
rarely got pink eye as a child, so it obviously
I
worked.
never had pink eye as a
Pink
child.
eye.
Okay, I actually had it fairly often then. But not as often as some people.
So the truth is, have you ever had pink eye?
No.
Never?
No.
I've never had pink eye.
Yeah, what?
Have you ever had pink eye?
I think maybe once.
I mean, I guess that's a personal question. I probably shouldn't ask that on the internet.
I got it at least 3 times a year. The last time I had it was
A
2 years
year?
ago.
You had it 3 times a year?
At least.
It's-
And I got it so bad, I'd wake up in the morning and my eyes would be crusted shut. This is
Ha-
really gross.
Oh.
And my mom would have to come in and, like, with a warm washcloth and wipe it off so I could open up my eyes.
I thought that was like a myth. I didn't think that like actually happened.
That people
No,
didn't
you
actually
have a
get pink
cold?
eye?
No, I
You
thought like
cough
that
in
like...
your
no.
You wipe?
Not pink eye.
Oh, I
No,
get.
like...
Maybe that's why I don't get pink eye. Because I'm really, really bad at coughing into my arm or hand.
Yeah, it's that. Well,
So-
you either get pink eye from someone else that has pink eye, or you have a cold and the cold gets into your
See,
eye.
that's been my question of how do you get pink eye from somebody else? You just like take your eye up to the other person that's pink eye
No,
and just rub
it's
it?
super contagious. So if they
Like you
touch,
just are like, hi, how are you today?
So
I
when,
went
like-
out of school too.
if you're in a daycare, that's why you're not supposed to go to school with pink eye. Because if you're in a daycare and a kid wipes their eye because it's itchy, your eyes itch, and then they touch a toy and another kid touches that toy and touches their eye.
But you
they
had a
get-
clean desk.
I didn't say that from other kids. I probably got it from myself from coughing into my hands and then wiping my eyes. I don't know.
That's intense. Anyway, so what is your motivation for making announcement videos?
We kind of just do whatever comes to our mind. It honestly takes so long to get filming done because we just lose everything and we'll just like start dying laughing in the middle of announcements.
I can attest. I've been there. It's
Yes.
hilarious. It's hilarious.
It takes forever.
as good, as a good quality piece of art should. It should take forever,
This is true.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you never know what's gonna happen. You gotta kind of like roll with it and stuff, which is fun. Can you give us an idea, like a hint as to what next week's theme
Don't
is?
make it too obvious.
Yeah, don't make it too
Hint
obvious.
at it. Walk around the topic without walking into it directly.
Walk around
Well-
the topic without-
We will be using lightsabers.
I wonder where that's from.
I love Star Trek.
I do too. I actually watched this. Yeah,
Could you imagine if next week's Star Trek theme after she said lightsabers?
that would be the
We
greatest.
should have done that, Hunter.
That
Why'd
would be
you
the
give it
greatest
away?
plot twist ever. I like it. Beam me up, Scotty. Right? That's
Yep.
from there.
That's from.
And live long and prosper.
See, I coughed inside my hand.
I've seen Star Trek a lot. I've just never
Really?
seen Star Wars.
That's a shame.
Let's play this game because I can't.
One
handle
is
it.
definitely
go ahead.
superior, and it's not the one you've seen. Okay, let's play the game.
All right,
Hey,
Hunter.
I'm on season 6 of the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
I'm getting so close. I finally got into season 6.
Let's play Worst Summer Ever.
It's awesome.
it's really good.
But Ahsoka's not there
This
now.
is the game where
She left
summer
the
is
Jedi
awesome. But there are certain things that can ruin a day. You're the captain now. Well, all three of you. So take turns. And must decide which option is worst. Dun dun dun. Are you three ready?
yes.
Yep.
Here's the first one. Which is worst? You always have a handful of sand in your pocket. Ew. Or your mom starts a conversation with one person in every store. Lydia, our guest, what would you decide is worst?
Oh, well, definitely the worst one is sand in your pocket.
Is it though?
Because honestly, either one, my mom or dad, every time we go into a store, starts a conversation with a person anyway.
So you already live in the right side.
Yeah.
You already live there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's just like what is.
I feel
Yeah.
like it depends on your parent. Or like your mom or your dad.
Like for me personally, every time we go into the store, either my mom or my dad usually starts talking to someone.
But
So,
you guys know a lot of people.
this is true.
So, I mean, yeah.
How long is this conversation going to last? That is the question. It says that they start a conversation. Do they complete said conversation?
Well, what are they talking about? I don't know.
It just depends, I guess, on the person that they're talking about in the topic.
Is it wet sand or dry sand? See, I think that matters a lot.
I assumed it was dry.
Would it dry at some point even if it was wet?
True.
Yes, eventually, but like dry sand, like, oh, it's annoying. Like, you just sort of empty out your pockets, it falls out. Wet sand, like, that's going to take a while. It's clumpy
Yeah.
in there. It's not going to just fall
So-
out.
So hear me out here.
Okay.
So it says you always have a handful of sand in your pocket. I see this as a win. Sandbox Company.
Oh, yeah.
We merchandise it. We
Yeah,
sell
no
it.
joke.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
So like, I think there's benefits that can come through this.
I can't breathe.
Sand just come from the sky, like you reach it, you pull it out, you
Yeah,
throw it on
it
the
just
ground, and then
keeps-
it's
Sandbox.
Replenishing sand pocket.
Yeah, we can play for
Or like,
days.
imagine like someone's trying to like sell you something, handful of sand. Like,
But anytime you reach your hand into your pocket, you're going to get sand in your
there's
fingernails.
more.
Is it in every pocket or just one pocket? Because if
just
you could
one
choose
pocket.
the pocket,
You
Your
always have
pocket,
a
singular.
handful of sand.
Yeah. Like,
All right,
I
we're
don't
gonna
even
be
know.
I don't know. I
okay.
think
Yeah,
the
let's
sand
move
would be-
on.
Which is worse? The wave pool will only start when you're not in the water.
That's annoying.
Or any chair you sit on will eventually break.
oh.
From experience, the right one is the worst.
Can you please explain why?
It is so terrifying when you sit in a chair and it just gives out on you. It happened to me not that long ago where I was sitting in something and it just went and you're like just left on the ground. And you don't know what's going on. And this has happened to me on like lawn chairs. I've broken many lawn chairs. I've broken like wooden chairs where they just gave out and I was on the ground. My favorite story ever of one of these happening to me is I was in my office and I was having back problems and because I don't stretch enough, and also because I pretended to be Spider-Man while playing charades at the junior high fall retreat, circa like 2012 or something like that. And it was bad. And so I was sitting on one of those giant inflatable balls. Okay,
Like a yoga
like a-
ball?
yeah.
like a yoga
yoga
ball. Yeah, I was sitting on that for a long time, and then all of a sudden, everything's fine, and then I just hear a giant boom, and the next thing I know, I am flat on the ground. And the best part about the whole thing, I mean, it was loud, and it split. It didn't split on the seams, like around, there's like the ridges and stuff. No, it split this way, which I'm not even sure how that's possible. The best part is I'm on the ground, and I'm in like the associate office with the glass door and all that stuff, and Brandon, because his office is right next door, he knocks on the door, and opens, and he goes, "You okay?" Because he can't see me because I'm laying on the ground, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay."
Were you all alone?
Yes! And I just laid there. For a while because I couldn't. I was like, what just happened to me? And you do that inventory of what's broken. Is there blood? Like, what's happening to me? And I don't think I would have gotten up for another couple of minutes if Brandon wouldn't have said, "Are you okay in here?" I love it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, that one's worse.
I've never met somebody with so many stories of terror.
Well, when you are a little this side of husky, it happens to you. Okay. I don't know about you. Would you like to add anything to that segment?
Nope, I think that's perfect.
I agree with you. I think that's worse because I think we can merchandise the other one.
Are we just gonna merchandise
That
everything?
doesn't work.
Yeah, think about it. You're in a wave pool, it's not working. You're like their kids aren't having fun. You go up to the parents like, "Hey, for $5, I can make sure that your kid has a fun time in the wave
That's
pool."
true. That is true. That's a good
Why
one.
does your mind
Then
work
you
like
get the
this,
$5,
Hunter?
you leave the wave pool, and boom.
Entrepreneur.
Okay.
You'll
Which
have your
is
pocket
worse?
sand to come for
Oh
you.
my goodness. I can't even breathe right now.
You fall asleep while reading a book. Oh, that's fine. And now have some awkward tan lines. The lifeguard yells. Stop. Can you imagine the lifeguard spelling? Stop running at you.
STOPRUNNING. You're like, what? You're like, I said to STOPRUNNING.
Oh my gosh! Even if you're
And everyone's
walking
like,
slow.
are you practicing for the spelling bee or something? What grade are you in? Yeah. Did you just have a child that's learning? Like, what's happening right now? Okay, which one's worse? You fall asleep while reading a book and now have some awkward tan lines.
So,
Or the lifeguard yells, "Stop running," even if you're walking.
If they're running, they're already gone by the time
I-
you can spell it.
I
Hey, get back here! I wasn't finished spelling!
So I think the choice here is, do you want your life to be bad or someone else's life to be bad? Because could you imagine being the lifeguard who has to yell at you no matter what you're doing constantly? Like, I feel like me as a person, I could live with him just yelling, "Stop running."
I can't breathe.
But, like, I feel like that's more of a penalty on him than it is on me.
If he just has to randomly
Just,
yell at
like,
people?
like all the time. All of them.
I think what would be really fun, though, if you are a lifeguard, to mess with people where they're walking really slow and you're like, "Stop yelling," and they're like,
Stop yelling.
Yeah.
or "Stop running." Stop yelling. Stop running. Stop running, and
That
you
would
look
be-
behind you.
That would be the response. I
Yeah,
think.
exactly. But you look behind you and you're like, I mean, surely he wasn't talking to me. And then you like look at him and you're like, "Me?" And he's like, no, that, and you're like, what? And then you start to move a little bit more and he's like, "I said stop running." And you know how much fun you can have messing with people like
Could
that?
you run places? Like, if you can't walk places and you run, would they still tell you to stop running?
Well, it said stop running.
But even if you're... Oh, I guess this is even if.
Also,
I don't know.
if he's yelling "stop running" all the time, I feel like I'm just gonna be incentivized to run. Like, if he's gonna yell at me no matter what I do.
And then you're like, what are you going to do? Spell it? Just like take off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Lydia, what about you?
Oh,
I don't think we even really answered the question, but
yeah,
Lydia, what
I
about
don't think
you?
so. I don't know. I think honestly that the tan lines would be the way to go because like you can fix that.
You know, every time.
But the lifeguard
So wait, are you saying the tan lines is
yelling
worse?
at you constantly, you can just go to a different pool.
You know what's really fun to do? Not that I've done it. I haven't. I've always wanted to try to figure it out how to pull it off well.
American flag.
What?
Is that if you have like a sibling, if you have a sibling or your parents like to lay out and stuff like that, I've actually tried to do this with Betsy, but she always figures it out before it's too late. Is that you get a leaf or something and you prop it up somehow so that it blocks the sun and certain things. So then that way, like right on their arm, there's this weird leaf shape or something. Or if you could get it timed on their face, right? So they can't see the shadow, so like on their eyes, so it's still bright, you know, so they got their sunglasses or whatever. And then you just have like a leaf or like a stick or like this random line across your face.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
A way better option is if they ask you to put suntan, like,
And then you purposely...
or like one time we took a spray bottle and they just hear it, like especially because that's just like a bad decision. Don't ever ask someone to spray your back. And then one of our friends did this to my sister. They sprayed a smiley face, and then we're like pretended to rub it, and they were like, "You're good." And then she had a smiley face that was super pale on her
That's
back.
really funny.
But I didn't tell you. I didn't.
Don't
give you
try
idea.
that at home.
Don't try
But
that at
seriously,
home.
it's hilarious.
Also,
Okay,
don't throw sand at people.
unless you're marketing.
Which is worst? Your best friend cancels on you, and you have to take your cousin. Well, what if your cousin is your best friend? Sorry.
Well, then that's really awkward.
Or your friends forget to unbury you from the sand. That's happened. I've had that happen to me. I don't think they forgot. They just didn't.
Not marry you. Oh, Caitlin.
I never. Is it hard to get can you unbury yourself?
It depends on how much sand's on top of you.
Yeah.
How deep are you?
How deep
That is the question, Caitlin.
Okay, I have a science question.
Oh,
gosh.
no. Does
No.
it involve
I'm
ice
ready.
and rocks?
This is gonna be rough.
I mean, sort of, because sand isn't sand just tiny rocks. Is that what
Yes.
Yeah.
sand is? So if that's the case, then yeah. How at the ocean? I've always wondered this.
Yeah.
When you go to the beach, you go to Florida.
Yeah.
Every once in a while. So when you go to Florida, is it like there's rock, like big rock or big concrete? Not concrete, because we make concrete, right? That's
Yes.
humans. Okay.
That's human
So like
construction.
you have like this stuff, rock and stuff, and then sand. Is the sand like a foot deep? Is it like 10 feet deep? What's under it?
So
How do you know? Like when you go to the ocean, is it just like, oh, there's like a thin layer of sand, or is it like super deep?
see, I think it depends on where you're at. Like
Yeah.
Louisiana, nothing there.
There's no sand?
All loose foundation. Like there's no solid foundation.
So it's just sand for days?
Pretty much, and dirt.
Why do you know
Loose
this?
Dirt.
Yeah, that's my
From
question.
from burying people in the sand.
Because you're telling me you don't know, Caitlin, that the foot shape of Louisiana is caused by runoff from the Mississippi? And
I mean, I knew that,
I'm a little
but
ashamed to even tell you I didn't know the Mississippi went through Louisiana.
well, it doesn't go through Louisiana. It stops. That's why Louisiana exists.
Right. Where's Louisiana?
South.
Deal.
at the end of the Mississippi.
At the end of the Do you know where the Mississippi is?
No. It's near us, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever crossed it?
I don't know. Have I?
Have you ever been to St. Louis?
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
yes, you've crossed it.
You know that big river next to
The one that
Louis?
the Martin Luther King Bridge goes over?
Yes.
Yes.
And the 55 bridge.
I
and the 70
hate
bridge.
that bridge.
Why are you on? It's been
They're
closed for years.
Scary. Well, I remember it from a child.
That's why it's scary. It's been closed for years.
Yeah, I keep
No wonder
using
why
it.
it's terrifying.
This is the first she's ever heard of it.
Oh, that's fair. Okay, I would say that I don't know. Probably being stuck in the sand would be bad.
I agree.
I think so too.
At least you're going with someone.
I don't know. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like.
I've
presents,
I've
so
learned to
I
be
wouldn't
content
mind.
with things
Talk
like
about
that.
weird tan lines. Buried in the sand.
Oh, that would be weird.
Okay, last one.
What'd you do this weekend? I don't want to talk about it. I was buried. in
Which
the
is
sand.
worst? Your room key never works for the hotel door.
Oh, hands down the floor. Oh no.
Somebody
That's
pooped
not
in the
even
pool.
a thing.
Oh my gosh.
That's not even a question. Obviously, the room key never working is an issue.
It's way worse.
Way worse.
Yeah.
Way worse.
Who wants to get
Okay.
stuck?
So.
What do you think chlorine's for?
Hold on.
It
What if you
solves the
lose your
problem.
bathing suit in the ocean? Then
That's
you're
not-
stuck outside.
That's
without
not even an
a hotel
without a
hotel
hotel
door key. Yeah, that's way worse. They put chlorine in the pool, so that's the least of your problems. Not getting into your room. That's an issue.
Funny story.
Uh-oh.
So this last vacation
Hold on,
that we
is this
took.
about the room key one or the second one?
No, the room, not
Okay.
getting into your room.
Okay.
So
It's
on
really
this last
important.
vacation that we took when we were staying at one of the resorts,
At somewhere that doesn't need to be named.
yeah, I think the people who know me already automatically know where we were.
Nickelodeon. Do they even have a place?
They used
yeah,
to.
they do.
Nickelodeon has a thing?
I think
Yeah,
they
they
used
used
to.
to. I don't know if
it's
they
still
still do.
So if you go to the Mall of America
Yeah!
in the center, there is there's an indoor Nickelodeon roller coaster park.
Ooh, that sounds fun. I should go. Is that the Mall of America? Is that
Yeah.
what you said?
So what happened at this resort?
So
There's
anyway.
also no sales tax. Anyways.
So we were trying to take all of our luggage up to our room, and we were on the second floor, like, of this it was almost like a motel where all of the doors were on the outside of these buildings. And so we were trying to get all of our luggage up there. So my dad went upstairs and unlocked the door and threw his bag in, and then came back down to help us. And then when we got back up there, the door would not open for any
But
of
his
our
stuff
keys.
was inside?
His bag was inside. So we were like frantically trying to get this door open.
Not fun.
And
Not
you know
fun.
the locks that like
Oh, no.
swing
Oh, no.
swing shut and lock it from the inside? The door got slammed hard enough that the lock flung over and locked us out.
How did you get in?
Our keys worked, but we couldn't get in. So we were sitting outside in the Florida heat for like an hour and a half. And there were
This
like
is why I don't go to Florida when it's warm.
there were like
Like
five
in the
different-
summer.
It's always warm.
I mean, yeah, but like summer warm compared to like
Oh, yeah.
November warm is different.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Or January warm.
But your dad's a firefighter. Couldn't he have just like?
What?
they
Caitlin?
made-
You're not gonna. You want to
What?
destroy? You want to destroy
Well-
Nickelodeon's property? That's crazy.
They could rebuild it.
Well, they sent like
Nickelodeon doesn't have that much money.
the place
They
that we're
sent like
talking about.
5 different people up to our room trying to get it open, and they make like special tools to get those locks
I've always
open.
wondered how they do that.
Yeah, they make special tools for that.
You just fling it real fast, like you like get in there and you're like, yeah.
They make
And
I've
like,
seen they make special tools
Looks
that
like
like,
a
mold.
wand.
Yeah.
They mold to the door.
Wingardium Leviosa.
That's how they do it.
Well, that would lift the door. That wouldn't help you.
Aloha
You're still
Mora.
in.
Aloha Mora is
What's
what you're trying
Wingardium Leviosa?
to do. That makes it levitate.
Oh, Aloha Mora is the-
unlocks
What?
the door.
That sounds like something from Lilo and Stitch.
It does.
Hunter didn't know that I liked Harry Potter and said that I
Okay.
never make
No.
Harry Potter references.
We're here
No.
to talk about the Bible.
Hold on.
What's
That's
the next
right.
one?
No, we'll
didn't even
we'll
finish
talk
We're
the
about
done.
that.
We,
Okay,
we're,
that's it.
We're way. Worst summer ever. Thanks for playing, guys.
So did you actually get into your room?
Yeah, so eventually after like an hour and a half of trying to get in, they eventually moved us over to a different resort and broke
But
the
how'd
door
you get
down.
to the?
They broke the door down.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you,
Man, I'll
firefighter.
tell you, that Universal Studios, they really help you out.
Yep.
The home of Shamu.
Who?
What?
You don't know who Shamu is?
Isn't that the towel that
That's
wipes
Sham
up?
Wow.
Oh, you're so right.
Sham Wow, which are cool, but not the same thing. Okay, so welcome to Bible study tonight. We are going to be talking about the Shamu that lives at SeaWorld.
And it's not water.
I'll tell you, if you're feeling like a good documentary, do not watch Blackfin or Blackfish. Blackfin.
Did
It
you
is
just,
too traumatic.
did you start that statement with, if you want a good documentary, don't watch this
Yeah.
one?
Well, you'll have nightmares for weeks and you'll never go to a zoo again. It's produced by CNN. You should watch it. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't watch
I
it.
can't tell if he's trying to like reverse psychology.
Hey,
or if
that
he's
reminds
being
me of a
genuine.
joke.
Oh,
I wrote a book about reverse psychology. Don't read it, though. Come on.
I'm going to go read that book.
Oh, wow. Cool.
But
I like it. Okay, so today we're going to continue into the book of Philippians. And so we're going to be in chapter 2. We have a lot to cover tonight in a short amount of time, but we're going to be able to fly through it. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And so what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about Philippians 2, starting in verse 12, and we're going to finish the chapter. and it's going to be really fun. And so I have a question for you, Lydia.
Oh, okay.
What is your favorite space fact?
My favorite space fact?
Yes.
Um,
It could be your second favorite. You don't have to give us your favorite one if you don't want to. A favorite space fact.
I have so many favorite space facts.
You have so many favorite space facts?
Yeah.
What if you don't know any space facts?
Then look that up on Wikipedia.
Do you know where the moon is?
In space.
Then you know a space fact.
Whoa!
Pluto is a planet. That's all I have
No,
to
it's
say.
not.
Mic drop.
That's okay.
Debatable.
I agree with you. It should be a planet, though, just because of nostalgia purposes, not because of science. Okay.
my favorite space fact is probably that Earth is like technically the most, or the only like planet that can hold life.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like, and it's placed just perfectly away from the sun.
Yeah,
That is cool.
that is pretty cool. I think that's awesome. Hunter, do you have a cool space fact? A favorite cool space
My
fact?
favorite space fact is that wherever you are is the center of the observable universe.
Did you watch that
I
on
did.
TikTok with Hank Green?
Yes.
He blew my mind.
I watched that earlier today. That's why it's
No
fresh
way!
on my mind.
Yeah. So when people say like you're not the center of the universe, you
You
could
are.
say, well, technically based on
True.
observable universe, I am. Everybody is.
Did you see the TikTok about how the universe can't be infinitely old?
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
Which was Hank Green was almost talking about God, but he was trying
was-
not to.
yeah,
It
I
was
could tell.
interesting. Hank Green, science show, sci-show. It's a great show. Okay, that's a fun fact. I like that fact. My fact right now that I think is really, really cool is there's so many. I don't know really which ones to say, but like I think it's super cool that you can launch a satellite into space and somehow you time it right so that as you're orbiting and moving, like the Earth's moving and moving and moving and moving, that this satellite is at the same speed, and so even though it's moving, it's not really, because it's standing right over the same part of the Earth the entire time. And so like it's like in perfect sync. And so like that blows my mind. Like I don't understand how that's possible. Because it makes it feel like everything's just sort of placed there, but everything's moving really fast, like 17,000 miles an hour or whatever. Like, that's crazy. That's my space fact.
Do you know that the idea, this is the last thing that we move on, the idea that you just float in space is a myth?
Because it's a vacuum, so you can't float?
Well, no. You're always being pulled towards something. The reason why people float in the International Space Station is because they're constantly falling.
What?
Yeah. They would be pulled to towards whatever the biggest center of gravity is, but they're constantly falling.
Where are they falling to?
Well, they're falling to Earth, but they're going
momentum.
so fast they like miss it, and then they keep missing it, and they keep missing it, and they keep missing it.
Yeah, that makes sense,
What?
doesn't it? That is awesome. I don't even understand what he just said, but it was cool. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Philippians chapter 2, and it has to do with space. And so I'm going to read this. Please follow along with me. We're going to start in verse 12. Therefore, my dear friends, as you have always obeyed, not only in my presence, but now much more in my absence, continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. For it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose. Do everything without grumbling or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure children of God without fault in a warped and crooked generation. Then you will shine among them like stars in the sky, as you hold firmly to the word of life. And then I will be able to boast on the day of Christ that I did not run or labor in vain. But even if I am being poured out like a drink offering on the sacrifice and service coming from your faith, I am glad and rejoice with all of you. So you too should be glad and rejoice with me. Okay, so there's just a couple things. There's a lot going on in that, but I just want to summarize this in a key point. At the very beginning of this, Paul is talking about how the Christians in Philippi need to work out their salvation, which basically means you got to keep on keeping on. You got to keep doing it. You can't just be like, now that I've accepted Jesus, I just sit there and I'm good. No. We're supposed to walk with Jesus. Always. That's why the spiritual practices and the disciplines are so important. Because it helps us continually turn our heart to opening ourselves up to allowing God to shape us more. Okay? So we have to do that. So he's saying that even though you guys are Christians, you're following Jesus, you need to keep working at it, keep doing it, keep learning, keep following Jesus. And so he talks about that. And he says that when you do that, and when you live like Jesus, then you're going to shine like stars in the sky. The cool thing is the Greek word for shine is phino. Okay? Like aisle, phi. Phino. Which means shine, appear, or to be recognized. And so it's this idea that you are going, if you live like Jesus, Lydia, you're going to shine brightly to everybody around you. Like all the stars in the sky. You know, you guys live where you can actually see stars. There's not a lot of light pollution there. Like, is it pretty cool? Like, do you ever go outside and just look up and go, whoa?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Do you see shooting stars at your house?
I don't know that I've ever seen one, but I'm sure it's possible to see them.
Yeah, that's cool. And so they're really bright, right? And so when we live like Jesus, and what Paul's saying is when you live like Jesus, you shine brightly and other people can see you. Other people can see Jesus through you because you're being recognized as a Christian. You're shining Jesus to other people so that they can see you through them. Okay, so that's that section. And now, so he's just saying, like, hey, you need to live life. Don't complain. Don't be grumbling. Don't do all these things that are going to make people notice that instead of notice Jesus in your life. Okay? Now he pivots to talk about what we're going to talk about this week to Timothy and Epaphroditus. There you go. If you ever, somebody should name a kid Epaphroditus. I should. I'm having a son.
Call him Paffy for sure.
Paffy. Paffy. I like it. Hey, Paffy, come here. I like it. So Timothy and Epaphroditus. Okay, so we're going to read about them. And what's cool about it is these two guys act like the two things that we talked about. They work out their salvation, which means they're constantly learning and growing and living like Jesus. And they live such lives that they shine brightly about Jesus to everybody around them. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to read this. Philippians chapter 2, starting verse 19. Here we go. I hope in the Lord Jesus to send Timothy to you, that I also may be cheered when I receive news about you. I have no one else like him, who will show genuine concern for your welfare. For everyone who looks out for their own interests, not those of Jesus Christ. But you know that Timothy has proved himself because as a son with his father, he has served with me in the work of the gospel. I hope, therefore, to send him as soon as I see how things go with me. And I am confident in the Lord that I myself will come too. Now, I just want to pause here just for a second. Now, Timothy is this guy who, let me find my notes here because I want to make sure I get it right. Nope. Too many notes. Okay, Timothy is a guy who meets Paul in Acts 16, which is where we see the town of Philippi. So these are real people who lived 2,000 years ago. Okay? And people really looked up to Timothy, and his mom was a Christian, and so he was raised as a Christian, raised as Jewish and then Christian, he was raised Christian, and and his mom had a really big impact in his life. But Paul took him under his wing and helped him grow a lot. And what's crazy is that Paul used to have a guy, kind of his junior associate, named John Mark, who wrote the Gospel of Mark, who we think wrote the Gospel of Mark. And so Timothy kind of replaces this guy. And Timothy gets just invested in and poured into by Paul. And so Timothy ends up being this guy that Paul sort of just passes the baton to. And it's like, okay, you're going to lead all these people. And when Paul writes these letters, 1st and 2 Timothy, he's writing to him, he's being like a young church leader in Ephesus, which is just crazy. So this is like a real dude that Paul really respects. And what's cool is that Timothy always responds to the training of Paul, and he just takes it seriously, and he dedicates himself to learning and to growing in faith and giving his time to teach other people about Jesus, to live like Jesus, and he's just a really good dude. And so, like, Paul's really excited about it. And you can tell how excited or how much he thinks highly of him in this because he says there's nobody else like him. He talks about how he cares so much about other people. He talks about how he's not selfish. He looks for other people. He talks about how he's like a son to Paul. Like, this guy's a pretty big deal, okay? So now let's talk about Epaphroditus. But I think it is necessary to send back to you Epaphroditus, my brother, co-worker, and fellow soldier, who is also your messenger, whom you sent to take care of my needs. For he longs for all of you and is distressed because you heard he was ill. Indeed, he was ill and almost died. But God had mercy on him, and not on him only, but also on me, to spare me sorrow upon sorrow. Therefore I am all the more eager to send him, so that when you see him again, you may be glad, and I may have less anxiety. So then, welcome him in the Lord with great joy, and honor people like him, because he almost died for the work of Christ. He risked his life to make up for the help you yourselves could not give me. Because the Philippi church, they're really rich. They're a really rich colony. And they are giving money. They're giving money to Paul to help pay for his house while he's in house arrest in Rome. And so here's these two guys who live like Jesus. They're working out their salvation. They're continually striving to be more and more like Christ and to do what God wants them to do. Okay? And they also are shining brightly to other people. People see Jesus through how they live their lives, which I think is really cool. Okay? And what's awesome about this is here's these two people. Epaphroditus is probably from Philippi. He came to bring the message that from the Philippian church to them. And now he got sick and he had to stay there. And so now Paul's going to send it back and send Timothy back. And it just, I think this is so cool because it just shows that the people of the Bible are real people. And it shows that they're just like us in the sense that they're trying to figure out life. They have friends. They have family. They have, when they really risk their life, like they really risk their life. It's not just some story about some guy that's like, oh man, he almost died. Like, no, there's a real dude that almost died. You know what I mean? But what I think is so cool about this is Paul had these two friends that were really great friends. They lived like Jesus. They were people who cared deeply about Jesus. They were people who cared deeply for Paul. They wanted what was best for him. And what I think is fun here is this word right here. In chapter 2, verse 22, Paul is talking about Timothy, and he says that he has proved himself. Okay? And so the Greek word for proved is dokime, and it means character worth, so it's like a worth of character, or you've proven your character. But I love this. It's like you've stood the test. You stand the test of something. So Timothy, in situations, has proved himself. He has stood firm in what he says he is. And so his character is good because who he says he is actually how he lives his life. So he's a person full of character. So then that got me thinking. Just like here's Paul, who's this awesome dude. Okay? God's speaking through him to not only like help the church, grow the church, make new churches, all that jazz. God is using him and speaking through him somehow, however that works, to make scripture, which is crazy cool. And he surrounds himself with people who are really quality, awesome people. So then it makes me ask this question. Like, we need to find people in our lives that are like Timothy and Epaphroditus. Like, we need to have people in our lives that are quality, that have proven, dokimai, that they stood the test, that we know that they are true, that we know that they are quality people, okay? Like that's what we need. And as friends or anybody to help us on our journey with Jesus, to help other people on their journey, we need to find those people, and we need to be those people. So Lydia and Hunter, help me with this. What does a person with proven character, the dokime, the proven character, what does a person with proven character do that shows that they have that character?
Are you all looking at me? No, I'm still thinking.
I think it's typically like one character I think is like someone you can rely on, like someone who's always there for you, like when you need it. I think that's one characteristic that like makes up that character. They're consistent. They're not going to flake out on you when you get in a tough situation.
Yeah, that makes total sense. What do you think?
I think that type of person who like shows their character is someone who is there for you like Hunter said, and no matter what, but who also is able to be vulnerable with you almost, and is able to trust that you'll be there for them as well.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, I think those are great answers. Those are cool. Another thing I was thinking about just in my own self of like finding somebody who's willing to call you out. Like, you know, they have good character, and it's not like they're bossy of like I'm better than you, but to like that they love you enough that they're gonna see an issue that you have that maybe you don't know, like you're blind to it, sort of. Like those Febreze commercials where your house smells like dirty sock, but your nose blind to it. Like you don't see what you do, but a friend that you know is going to be able to say, you know what you're doing is not helpful. Like it's, you know, that's not really who you are. And when you do that, it's making people not really know who you really are. And then also be able to receive that too. But sometimes we want people just to be yes people to us, so they just tell us what we want to hear. By having somebody who's willing to stand the test, to be there through the thick of it, and to go, man, Zach, what you're doing is not good. You know? Like, that's not good. And so, who is somebody that you know that does this? Who's somebody that has that dakame? That is somebody who just has that quality character, that they've stood the test, that they've shown that they are somebody full of character, that they live like Jesus. I mean, think about this. This is one letter that flows really well, because as good letters do. They flow, they have a point. You know, he's going through it, and Paul's writing this. We're reading somebody else's mail. It's for us. It's not to us. It's not about us, but it still is applicable to us because it's true for everybody. And so Paul is talking about he's talking about Jesus and having the same mindset as Jesus at the beginning of chapter 2. And then he flows and ends this with these two people talking about a real life situation that they're going through. But these are two people who live out living like Jesus, have the same mindset as Jesus, and somebody who shines brightly for him. And I just think that's really cool. And so, like, who is somebody that does that, who has the same mindset of Jesus, that's willing to serve, not think about their own interests, but the interests of others, and somebody who is really focused on working out their salvation in the sense of constantly learning and growing and being willing to be shaped by God, and doing that in a way to shine for others. And I think that's awesome. And so I want you to think about who that is, and you think about that too. But then the other question you have to ask yourself is, am I that person? Like, if somebody else were to ask, who is someone you know that does this? Would they be able to say me? Would they be able to say you? You know what I mean? And so, like, we got to do that. Like, I want to be somebody that people go, yeah, that person's full of that proven character, of that dokame. I want that, you know? And I think you are. You're those people. But at the same time, we know in our hearts of like, man, what do I got to do to change? And that's a challenge this week, is for you to find some time just to think and go, man, am I really a person of character? Am I the same when people see me, like when church people see me, when people who are not church people see me? Am I the same when I'm by myself, when I'm with my parents? Am I the same person consistently? Do I live like Jesus all the time? Where do I not live like Jesus, and why don't I? Like, these are these heart and hard questions that we have to ask ourselves, because the goal is to live like Christ and to open ourselves up for his transformation. Because if we don't do that, then we're not going to shine very brightly, you know? Yeah. And so that's what we have to do.
There's actually a really cool thing with stars, to bring it back to stars.
Yeah.
You know how stars twinkle? Like bright stars twinkle in the night sky? Stars don't twinkle naturally. The twinkling is actually two stars revolving around each other that make it brighter and cause that twinkling.
That's cool.
So actually two stars work together to make a brighter light, which I think relates a lot to what we're talking about right
Absolutely.
here.
That's another cool space fact. I love it. I love it when God's creation teaches us things. Like how ice is really just rocks.
Oh my God. True.
What? That's a true statement. It's true. It's a statement. So anyway, that is the challenge. So that's a challenge for you, and me. All the fingers pointing at me, giant mirror. That we would look at ourselves and be like, am I the kind of person that somebody would go, yep, that person's got strong character? Okay? Well, thanks for joining us this week. Sorry it was a long one, but we had a riveting conversation of falling on the floor and throwing sand at people's faces. And marketing stuff. Yeah. And also horrible things that happen when you get locked out of your hotel at Nickelodeon, which is insane.
I thought it was Universal Studios.
It's Universal.
Both.
It might be a
Cartoon Network,
house.
All of
Actually,
the
It
above.
might be a house that maybe has mice. I don't know.
it's actually the Hallmark.
I wouldn't want to say it that house.
The
Hallmark.
Hallmark Channel.
Hallmark
Lifetime.
playground.
Can you imagine how
HGTV.
sad of a place that would be?
Hallmark.
Like if Hallmark had a like movie studio place, a resort that you could go to.
We'll see you guys next week.
Oh, okay, bye.
What?